Now, if there is one team that we expect to have massive improvement in 2023, that has to be Alpine. The team has brought in a new driver in Pierre, and although everything pointed towards a disastrous 2023 season when Alonso announced that he'd be leaving the team, now the Enstone-based team will look forward to conquering the rest of the grid and potentially finishing third in 2023. The possibility is there. The car certainly has power, and many people are going to be left baffled when they see how much Alpine has progressed in the off-season. Alpine became the laughingstock of Formula 1 during the summer break of the 2022 season when Piastri treated them the way he did after Alonso jumped ship to Aston Martin. Many thought that this was the downfall of Alpine, and the second half of the season is going to be a very difficult one now that Alonso is departing the team and his relationship with Ocon hasn't been really booming. Still, that wasn't the case, and although with a bit more trouble, Alpine managed to beat McLaren for the season and gather the much needed 4th place. With Piastri departing from Alpine's fiercest rivals, it's evident that Alpine will have further motivation to prove that he picked wrong and their team is much better than the Woking-based squad. Obviously, they have two very talented drivers for the 2023 season in Ocon and Gasly, and it goes without saying that Gasly will be 100 times more motivated than Piastri to show what he can do in a top performing team because he's been waiting for this chance for quite some time. And don't forget, he was given a proper one in Red Bull in 2019, and despite failing to score some good results and being replaced after only 13 races, Gasly went on a complete tear with AlphaTauri in the following period. He even won his first race in Monza, becoming the second Toro Rosso driver to win a race after Vettel in 2008, with the 4-time world champion winning the exact same race as Gasly. Gasly is by far a better driver than Ocon, which is why we're supposed to see a much more competitive season from Alpine in 2023. But with both of these drivers still not being able to fight for wins, it seems like the competition between them will be a friendly one, and it'll be similar to what Mercedes experienced in the previous season, when they were fighting for P5 and P6. However, we must add that podium finishes are something that Alpine is definitely going to aim for, and it's something that Gasly can definitely achieve on a top performing team. Hamilton has spoken about Alpine's chances, saying that they will definitely be a team that we'll have to watch for the next season, mostly because they do have a nice and young pair of drivers, ones that could deliver very strong performances. One thing is for certain, the Renault engine behind Ocon and Gasly's backs is much stronger than McLaren, and that's been proven in the previous year. With engine freeze in effect until the 2026 season, we shouldn't see any changes in the upcoming season. McLaren, on the other hand, is currently dealing with some internal problems, such as the departure of Seidel and the accommodation of Piastri. True, Alpine has the same problems, but they're on top in this battle, and although Ocon found it hard to battle with Norris in 2022, that's an issue that Gasly will likely not experience thanks to his talent and his raw speed. What's even more scary is the fact that Ocon believes that Gasly won't need any time to adjust to the new car, and this means that Gasly would be a dangerous driver from day one in Alpine. That cannot be said for Piastri, who's still a rookie and is under tremendous pressure to perform well. Don't forget that Gasly had the opportunity to work with and learn from Verstappen, who, although younger than him, is a much more accomplished and talented driver. Gasly will look forward to taking all of his talent into the Alpine car and finally fighting for podiums, something that he's been waiting for ever since 2019, which is why the rest of the grid should be afraid of Alpine. On the other hand, Ocon has shown that reliability and good points are a given with him, but he hasn't been fairly challenged by Alonso, and in times when he was challenged, like in Budapest and in Jeddah in 2022, he tried to use some dirty tactics to defend against the 2-time world champion. It's worth mentioning that Alonso was the key reason behind Ocon's maiden win in Budapest in 2021, but it seems like the Frenchman has forgotten about that, or at least doesn't want to remember it as much as he should. With Gasly, the situation is going to be very different, and Gasly isn't here to finish behind Ocon or obey team orders. That's why, with Ocon becoming more competitive and Gasly bringing his talent to each race, Alpine will be a force to be reckoned with. While many thought that Ocon and Gasly were going to have a hard time accommodating to each other due to their old beef, they have squashed that and are now very happy to have accomplished their childhood dreams to race in Formula 1. On top of that, they formed an all-French lineup for a French team, something that's been a dream for Alpine for quite some time, and now the grid needs to be really careful when they approach Alpine. Ocon has spoken about Gasly's accommodation in Alpine, and by statement, you can see that the old friends are full of respect for each other, and that everything that they had in the past has been left there. When talking about this matter, Ocon added, I don't think he's going to need much help. I think Pierre is very experienced, he's driven for different teams, he's driven a lot in testing also prior to that. It's always a learning curve of understanding the car, how you work. The team and I, we have the keys, and again the important thing is for us to debate, do the same thing we were doing with Fernando. Straight away, we need to be on pace to be able to score and to give good feedback to the team to really improve it. I've already tried some parts of the 23 cars and it was very encouraging. Incredibly fast, I would say. So far, it's only simulations, but it feels good. We need to keep going that way and Pierre will be a good asset for that. On the contrary, Safnauer believes that now that Gasly has arrived as Ocon's teammate, Ocon is the one who's going to have to make better judgments once he enters a wheel-to-wheel battle with his teammate. This time, it's Gasly, and rest assured that the 26-year-old won't back down from any challenge that is presented to him. Safnauer has spoken about Ocon and his judgment, and when talking about this matter, he made sure to remind Ocon that Alpine is no longer revolving around him and there could be a new sheriff in town, which is why he would have to up his game if he wants to stay. Ocon needs to probably make better judgments when his teammates are next to him because you don't win it on the first lap, teammate or not. And if you're aggressive against a competitor and you both go out, you both lose. If you're aggressive against a teammate and you both go out, well, guess who loses? So it's just that better judgment and get them later. Safnauer also stated that this was communicated to Ocon and that the 31-year-old driver understands that the stakes have risen significantly and that the egoistic approach to the race is no longer appropriate. Gasly has definitely been a blessing in disguise for Alpine, and although he's not as young as Piastri, one could never know how the fate of the young Aussie would have turned out. We'll have a chance to witness that with McLaren, but with Gasly being 26 years old and full of experience, it's going to be a win-now situation for the Enstone-based team, which will be looking to attack Mercedes and potentially Ferrari for podium finishes. This is something that's been said by Rossi, the CEO of Alpine, who said that McLaren isn't really their goal to beat for the 2023 season, as they've already proven that McLaren is below them, and now Alpine is among the likes of Mercedes and Ferrari. Time will tell whether this is a little too ambitious. After all, Alpine did have some trouble with the reliability of its car, and that's something that needs to be fixed for the upcoming season if they want to battle with the bulletproof engine of the Silver Arrows. So, with that being said, what do you think about Alpine's chances to surprise the F1 world in 2023? Let us know in the comments down below.